Hey guys, this is Anthony. Today we're playing another 15-10 game on Lichess. We are going into the French. Let me make this screen just a little bit bigger. Okay, knight c3, so d5, take, take. Seems like a line. I think this is called the pulse invariation, and yeah, this, I have no idea what it's called. But d takes looks normal. Knight takes. Feel like the move here is knight to d7. Knight to d7. Because on knight f6, d4. Hmm, knight f6, knight takes, queen takes. I think this queen is a little misplaced. Let's go knight d7. Then we'll play knight gf6. And if knight takes, I can recapture with the knight. I'm expecting d4, bishop b5, maybe a move. Yeah, knight gf6 looks fine. Trying to think of any moves to take advantage of this loose bishop, but looks fine. So I am threatening knight takes e4. I'm going to pre-move this recapture. Yeah, I expect white's going to capture and then castle. So I'm trying to get a little bit better with thinking about what my opponent's moves are going to be. Just building this habit, it's going to help me when the position is sharp. I've noticed that with most variations, I get in trouble when I find a line that I really like and it's good for me, and I just end my calculation at that, and I don't see my opponent's resources. So that is something I need to work on. Okay, and white's going into the tank. They do not recapture, or they do not capture. Um, Wondering if knight b6 is any good. I think bishop d6 maybe okay. Maybe bishop e7 seems quite passive. Yeah, bishop d6 just seems a bit more active. So expect castles, and I'll probably do the same. Okay, d4. Yeah, let's castle. Maybe white's gonna go for bishop g5. And if white castles right now, so there's knight b6, which I do like. Then I could play bishop d7 and bishop c6. So knight b6, there's also h6. Yeah, let's go knight b6 with the plan of bishop d7 and bishop c6. Okay, white may play bishop d3, which is logical, just lining up. And I do like bishop d7. c5 should also be considered. So c5, maybe that'll be stronger after bishop d7. I just don't want to rush. h6 may be strong. h6 might be inviting itself to bishop captures h6. h6, bishop captures h6, g captures h6. I think this should be okay. Yeah, I like that it keeps bishop g5, pinning my knight. Okay, so white plays the aggressive c4. What about c5? Pawn takes. And if d takes c5, bishop takes c5. I like that. c5. They play d5. Pawn takes, and I do free up my light square bishop, so just checking for tactics should be okay. Pre-move this recapture in case of d takes c5. And if they actually play d5, I think that hangs a pawn. I have e takes d5, c takes d5, knight b takes d5. Okay, so what are my plans? Yeah, after resolving this tension in the center, I do think white's going to capture my c pawn. Um, Interesting. So pawn takes. White has c5 now with a fork. I have on c5. I have bishop takes g3. I think I do like that. Can also save that move, keep it in reserve. Because why not bishop d7? Is there a rush? Is there a rush? Yeah, bishop d7. So white does have that queen bishop battery staring down at my king side. So it's hard as the defender to realize when there's enough pieces for an attack, or if an attack is premature, let's say. Um, White's attack does look dangerous. All the pieces, the bishops are just staring down into White's position. But okay, so what do we have here? So I like bishop c6 on d5. If e takes d, c takes d, bishop takes, or knight takes. Mm, they are threatening. So if I have knight takes, bishop takes, there is an attack on my b7 pawn. I could play queen c7 at that point. I could play bishop c6, but if bishop takes, b takes, it does give me double isolated pawns. But I am threatening to capture here. So maybe it's not that bad. So yeah, knight takes, bishop takes. Let's start with that. So on bishop takes, let's say bishop c6, take, take. I do temporarily have doubled pawns, but I can always play c takes d4, rid myself of it. Um, and if bishop c6, d5, I think that drops a pawn. So yeah, let's go for this line. I'm gonna pre-move this recapture. I am giving myself doubled c pawns, but again, I can always play c takes d4, or if they take, I'll play bishop takes c5. Um, and I don't dislike it. I don't dislike it. If d5, I have e takes d5, c takes d5. Probably bishop takes d5. Just seems a little more forcing. Um, and if bishop takes d5, knight takes d5, there might have been rook d1 at the end, which may have been annoying. So I think let's rid ourselves of our pawn, of our double pawn. Maybe queen c7, queen e7. Slightly prefer queen c7. It defends the c6 pawn, and it creates this battery on the king side. Okay, c5 is a threat. I didn't look at that. Okay, c5 is a threat. Could play c5 myself. I have queen c7, and on c5, bishop takes h2 check. Okay, so that looks interesting. Queen c7, c5, bishop takes h2 check, king h1. Let's say knight d5. And if g3, I have bishop takes g3, f takes g3, queen takes g3. That looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. Yeah, let's go for that. So we're going for some fireworks here. So I'm defending the c6 pawn. I am allowing pawn to c5, which would be a fork. But I do have bishop takes h2. Okay, so let's calculate that again. C5, bishop takes h2 check, king h1. Okay, they defend against all that. Maybe just knight e7. Yeah, like knight e7. Maybe place the knight on f6. What about c5? c5. Yeah, so if white goes c5, I go c5, there's knight b5, which seems annoying. Rook c8. Rook c8. And maybe knight f6 afterwards, trying to kick the queen out. So my a7 pawn, it's a little vulnerable. There's this x-ray pressure, and the queen is the only defender. But yeah, looking for some other useful moves. White is starting to pressure the c6 weakness I have. Okay, if I were white, maybe just rook a d1. Yeah, my minor pieces are a little discoordinated. So after I play knight f6, what's next? Maybe bishop c5, bishop b4, bishop b4, a3, bishop a5, with ideas of just trying to reroute to bishop to the b6 square. Mm, yeah, not sure how good that is. We're evening out on the clock right now. I would say white has a slight advantage. Oh, wow. I mean, I have to take, so f takes e6, queen takes with a check. Queen takes e6 check. What about just rook f7? Because they probably calculated king h8. But what about rook f7? Because bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes, check. So rook f7, bishop h6, g takes h6, queen takes h6. Okay. So I'm hoping that black didn't see this move. I mean, white didn't see this move. I mean, I didn't see any of these moves. I'm only up 1 point of material, so okay, they did win 2 pawns, right? Bishop f8. Bishop f8 looks strong. Okay, so I do want to consolidate right now. I'm up a piece for 2 pawns. Can I play queen e5? Queen e5, queen takes d7, rook takes. Queens are off the board. Oh, I still have a queen. So queen e5. Hmm. Okay, queen here. Queen d8. I am pinning myself. But I don't see a way that white can put extra pressure onto d7. Yeah, if I could play queen e7 now. Queen, let's say rook f to e1, queen e7. If queen takes e7, rook takes e7. No. Does that lose a piece? Yeah, it does drop a piece. So rook fe1, queen e7. If queen takes, okay. So that hangs a piece. So what about queen f6? Maybe queen f6. And if queen takes queen, if pawn takes. So queen f6, queen takes c7. I think I should be okay. So queen f6, queen takes. I have to take with the pawn. I have to take with the pawn. Okay. And if queen takes c7, rook takes c7, rook takes c7. I'm okay getting rid of um, white's queen. With the time situation now, I would definitely like to simplify this position. I'm going to pre-move the capture. Trying to think, what can white do? What about an annoying move like queen g4? Queen g4, knight b6. But do I have rook e7? Rook e7. And if queen takes, bishop takes. Okay. If I could trade off a pair of rooks, that should make my position a little bit easier to convert. Okay, they scoop up the pawn. Fair, fair. So rook takes to start off with. So like queen f7. Yeah, just trying to coordinate right now. Like safe moves, rook e8. Knight f6. Rook e8. So knight f6. Remove the recapture. I don't think white is going to trade. Rook over. Rook e4 might be interesting. Rook e4. That does threaten the c4 pawn. Queen's attacking. Play the pawn up. Get the queen up. So we are threatening this bishop. Let's pre-move the recapture. Play queen to g4. So we are threatening the rook. Bishop over. Rook d8, maybe a threat now. Trying to keep my pieces coordinated. I see they have queen d5, which drops the queen. Right, but don't I have rook d8? Am I missing something? I'm gonna pre-move the recapture. Oh, okay, rook d8. Um, yeah, that was a very tight game. It just came down to time pressure. Um, I did like how I kept my pieces coordinated. Let's throw this into a study. The heart is pounding. Ooh, that was against a 2088. So hopefully we get some points from that. But yeah, let's quickly go through this before I have to grab some oxygen or something, get this adrenaline out. Yeah, this knight b6 move, I do like that it allows my light square bishop to come out, but yeah, it was a little misplaced throughout the game. Let me just look at the Masters database. Okay, we're already out of theory. So where were we here? I know sometimes rook e8. This is a common idea on the white side of the Italian. But yeah, knight b6 seemed a little awkward. And yeah, bishop d3, it just seemed like white was on a better square. Here was another interesting point in the game. Queen c7. I'm actually not mad at this position. Like the knight can swing back over. Yeah, maybe queen c7 was better. So instead I allowed this trade. So my pawn was hanging, so it takes. So this was a tactic I was briefly looking at. So if I try to run away, g3, takes, queen takes. The dark square bishop is loose. Um, there is some initiative here. And looking at the material, I am even, but yeah, it feels like maybe I don't have much because let's say queen f2. Oh, well, that's a blunder. Um, yeah, after queen f2, I'm not having any more fun. Okay, so maybe that just led to a drawish position. Yeah, so this was the point of the game. The sacrifice, very critical moment. Um, so I think the line my opponent saw is probably this one, and at a minimum, it's a perpetual. But I do wonder if you miss rook f7, and my position is quite cramped. But yeah, I managed to get out of this relatively unscathed. And yeah, at this point, can't really criticize any of our moves just because we're in time pressure, 20 3 seconds to 55 seconds. Yeah, after king g2, rook d8, this seemed like a winning tactic. And yeah, this should be fine. This should be winning for black. Queen's quite active. Annoying check over here. The knight's about to come in and join in on the attack. So yeah, I think this should be winning. So super exciting game. Let's look at our points. So we are back up to 1957. Let me actually take a look at that opponent. That might be my highest. Yeah, that was my best rated victory. Okay, so we're up to 1957. Thanks again, everyone, for sticking around, and I will see you tomorrow.